They gathered in secret, 15 species, rulers of stars, architects of empires. Their voices shook with panic, not from what humanity had done, but from what they might become. In just 50 years, Earth's children had turned dead worlds into living ones, outposts into oaths. They spread not with conquest, but with conviction. And that terrified the galaxy more than any war ever had. So the vote was cast. The Purification Alliance was born, but before the plans could begin, a human walked into the chamber, alone, calm, unaware that the stars were already trembling. The Council of Fear. The Nexus Station hung in the void like a massive crystalline flower, its countless chambers and corridors housing representatives from across the known galaxy. For 3,000 years it had been the center of galactic civilization, a place where disputes were settled through careful negotiation and ancient protocols. Today, however, the station's central council chamber buzzed with an energy that had nothing to do with diplomacy. Ambassador Thylex of the Keth Mori stood at the center of the vast circular room, her four arms gesturing frantically at the holographic displays that surrounded her. The insectoid diplomat's usually pristine blue carapace showed signs of stress, with several plates slightly askew. Around her, representatives from 15 different species sat in their specialized environmental pods, each designed to accommodate their unique biological needs. "Look at these numbers," Thylex clicked in the common tongue, her mandibles chattering with barely controlled anxiety. 50 years ago, the humans controlled one system. One. Today, they have established permanent colonies in 200 systems across 7 different galactic sectors. High Commander Zeril of the Vorthak Empire shifted in his massive chair, the reptilian warrior's scales rippling with colors that indicated deep concern. His species had conquered half their home galaxy through military might, but even they had never expanded at such an impossible rate. "The expansion itself is concerning," he rumbled, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had commanded fleets for over 2 centuries. "But what troubles me more is how they expand." The chamber fell silent as Zeril activated his own displays. Footage from various human colonies played across the room's walls, showing scenes that defied everything the assembled aliens thought they knew about colonization. They watched humans landing on barren rocks in space and somehow turning them into lush worlds within decades. They saw colonists working in environments that should have killed them instantly, protected by nothing more than flexible suits and portable atmospheric processors. "This is impossible," whispered Dr. Veshtar of the Ethereal Collective, her gaseous form shimmering with distress inside her containment field. "Our own colonies take centuries to establish proper ecosystems. We must find worlds that already match our biological requirements. These humans, they change the worlds to match themselves." Ambassador Krell of the Aquatic Depths Folk activated his translation matrix from within his water-filled chamber. "My deep scouts have observed their terraforming operations. They do not wait for natural processes. They force change through methods our scientists claim are reckless and unsustainable. Yet somehow their colonies thrive." Thylex clicked her agreement as she brought up more disturbing evidence. "Intelligence reports from the Outer Rim show human settlements that appeared overnight in regions we considered uninhabitable. Dead systems with no resources, no atmosphere, no life. Within 5 standard years, these locations became thriving worlds supporting millions of humans." The mechanical representative of the Synthetic Accord, Unit Prime 7, processed this information with visible difficulty. Its optical sensors flickered rapidly as it attempted to reconcile the data with known principles of galactic development. "Analysis indicates impossible resource ratios. Human colonies consume materials at rates that should lead to immediate collapse. Instead, consumption drives innovation, leading to discovery of new resources and more efficient utilization methods. Where alien fleets relied on overwhelming firepower and numerical superiority, humans had developed tactics based on speed, unpredictability, and the complete abandonment of conventional military wisdom. Human ships didn't fight to destroy the enemy fleet. They fought to disrupt enemy coordination and create chaos." Ambassador Thylex watched in growing panic as her carefully coordinated battle plan fell apart within the first few minutes of combat. Human vessels appeared and disappeared from her tactical displays like ghosts, striking at communications nodes and command ships before vanishing into the asteroid fields that humans had somehow weaponized. "They fight like nothing we have ever encountered," she reported to the Alliance Command Network, her voice cracking with strain. "Our formations are designed to counter known military doctrines. These humans are using tactics that don't exist in any of our strategic databases." High Commander Zeril found himself in the unprecedented position of commanding a fleet that was larger, more powerful and more technologically advanced than the enemy, yet somehow losing the battle. They're not trying to destroy our ships, he realized with growing horror. They're targeting our ability to coordinate. Without central command, our numerical advantage becomes meaningless. Dr. Veshitar, monitoring the battle from her command vessel, made the discovery that would haunt the Purification Alliance forever. Analysis complete, she reported through the emergency communication channel. Human tactics are not random. They are systematically exploiting weaknesses in our command structure that we didn't know existed. The revelation that humans had been studying alien military doctrine for decades, identifying vulnerabilities and developing countermeasures, sent waves of terror through the Alliance fleet. It meant that this battle wasn't a desperate defensive action by a threatened species. It was a carefully planned demonstration of human military superiority. Admiral Torres watched the alien fleet's formation crumble with grim satisfaction. Lieutenant Kumar, signal all human colonies in the sector. Begin Phase 3. Across the Kepler sector, human settlements that the aliens had dismissed as insignificant targets revealed their true nature. Mining operations became weapon manufacturing centers. Agricultural installations launched swarms of defensive drones. Civilian transport vessels deployed electronic warfare systems that jammed alien communications across entire star systems. My God, whispered Lieutenant Kumar, monitoring the sector-wide transformation. Admiral, we're not just winning this battle. We're demonstrating capabilities the aliens never imagined we possessed. Ambassador Thylex made the desperate decision that would seal the fate of the Purification Alliance. All ships, immediate withdrawal to fallback positions. We need time to reassess enemy capabilities. But humans had anticipated this response as well. As the alien fleet attempted to retreat, they found their escape routes blocked by human vessels that had somehow anticipated their movements. What should have been an orderly withdrawal became a chaotic rout as alien commanders realized they were trapped in a system they thought they could conquer easily. High Commander Zaral's final transmission to the Alliance command network carried the weight of absolute defeat. The humans were not afraid of our attack. They were prepared for it. They have been preparing for exactly this scenario since the day they first left their home world. The Battle of New Eden lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, the Purification Alliance had lost over half their combined fleet, while human casualties numbered less than 1,000. But the true victory wasn't measured in ships destroyed or lives lost. Admiral Torres stood before the communication array that would broadcast her message to every alien world in the galaxy. Her words would be remembered as the moment when humanity announced itself as the dominant species in the galaxy. To all alien civilizations, she began, her voice carrying across space to species that now understood they had awakened something terrible. You came here to stop our expansion because you feared what we might become. You have now learned what we already are. The message continued with the calm certainty of someone stating simple facts. We do not expand because we are aggressive. We expand because we refuse to accept limitations. We do not conquer worlds because we are warlike. We transform worlds because we see potential where you see impossibility. Lieutenant Kumar, monitoring alien communication networks, reported the immediate response. Admiral, we're detecting panic across their entire communication grid. They're requesting immediate ceasefire negotiations. The vote was swift and unanimous. 15 species, representing over half the known galaxy, agreed to coordinate their military forces for a single purpose: the complete destruction of human civilization before it could spread any further. As the representatives began discussing tactical details and resource allocation, none of them noticed the small diplomatic shuttle requesting docking permission at the station's outer ring. Aboard that shuttle, Dr. Elena Vasquez reviewed her notes for what she believed would be routine diplomatic discussions about trade agreements and border demarcation. The former military engineer turned diplomat had no idea that she was about to walk into a room full of aliens who had just voted to exterminate her species. She had no way of knowing that her arrival would be seen as either a stroke of incredible fortune or a sign that humans were more dangerous than anyone had imagined. As her shuttle docked with the station, Vasquez felt the familiar excitement of representing humanity on the galactic stage. She believed, as most humans did, that their rapid expansion was a sign of their species' bright future among the stars. She had no concept that this expansion had become a source of terror for half the galaxy. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of galactic civilization itself. What they didn't understand. Deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, in a facility that officially didn't exist, General Marcus Chen stared at the holographic display with the same calm expression he had worn throughout 30 years of military service. The intercepted alien communications played on repeat, their translated words filling the underground command center with an ominous weight that would have terrified most species in the galaxy. "Play it again," Chen ordered quietly, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had never lost a strategic engagement. Around him, dozens of the brightest military minds on Earth watched the Alien Council's vote for human extinction, with expressions ranging from grim determination to barely contained rage. Dr. James Park, the facility's chief xenobiologist and strategic analyst, highlighted key sections of the alien communications. "General, our translation algorithms are 97% confident in the accuracy. 15 alien species have formed what they call the Purification Alliance, with the explicit goal of eliminating humanity before we can expand further." Captain Sarah Mitchell, recently returned from the frontier colony of New Perth, stepped forward with a tactical assessment. "Sir, based on the intercepted fleet movements, they're planning simultaneous attacks on all our outer colonies. Classic shock and awe strategy designed to cripple our expansion capabilities before we can respond." Chen nodded slowly, his mind already working through possibilities that would never occur to the Alien Alliance. Where other species saw the overwhelming numerical advantage of the alien fleets and would begin planning desperate defensive measures, the general was already thinking 3 moves ahead. "Captain Mitchell, what's the current status of Project Wildfire?" he asked. Mitchell's eyes lit up with the kind of fierce pride that marked every human who had grown up on the frontier. "All contingencies are operational, sir. Every colony past the inner ring has been running wildfire protocols for the past 15 years. The aliens think they're attacking helpless settlements. They have no idea what they're actually walking into." Dr. Park brought up detailed schematics showing the true nature of human colonial expansion. "General, the aliens have made a fundamental error in their intelligence gathering. They see our colonies as they understand colonization, permanent settlements designed for long-term stability and growth. They don't realize that every human colony beyond Earth was designed from the ground up as a potential fortress." The display showed cross-sections of typical human settlements. What appeared to be simple agricultural and industrial facilities were revealed to be modular defensive systems capable of rapid reconfiguration. Farming equipment doubled as manufacturing systems for military hardware. Civilian infrastructure could be converted to support military operations within hours. "The beautiful irony," Chen observed with a slight smile, "is that they're terrified of our expansion rate, but they have no idea why we expand so quickly. Every colony we build teaches us something new about survival, adaptation, and resource utilization. Each world makes us stronger and more capable of building the next one." Captain Mitchell activated communication links to various colony worlds, each showing the rapid transformation taking place across human space. "Sir, New Perth has completed conversion to full defensive posture in 18 hours. Our mining operations are now producing military-grade alloys instead of commercial materials. Our atmospheric processors have been reconfigured as weapons platforms." The general watched with satisfaction as similar reports came in from dozens of worlds. Where alien species would require months or years to coordinate such massive changes, human colonies were adapting in real time. "Dr. Park, what's your assessment of alien tactical doctrine?" The xenobiologist pulled up intelligence files gathered over decades of contact with various alien species. "Their military thinking is rigid and hierarchical, sir. They plan operations based on detailed analysis and consensus building. Once they commit to a strategy, they follow it regardless of changing circumstances. They can't comprehend our doctrine of continuous adaptation." Chen turned to address the entire command center, his voice carrying to every corner of the facility. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to face the combined military might of 15 alien civilizations. They outnumber our fleets by more than 10 to 1. Their combined industrial capacity dwarfs our own. By every conventional metric, we should be preparing for defeat." The pause that followed was heavy with anticipation. Every person in the room knew that General Chen's calm demeanor meant he had already identified the path to victory. "However," he continued, "they have made one critical error. They assume we think like they do. They expect us to respond to their attack with fear, desperation, and defensive measures. They believe that superior numbers guarantee victory. They are about to learn why that assumption has been the downfall of every enemy humanity has ever faced." Dr. Park activated the final phase of their strategic analysis. "Sir, Operation Thunder Dawn is ready for implementation. Instead of waiting for their coordinated attack, we strike first at their staging areas. While they're still organizing their fleets, we hit them hard and fast at locations they believe are secure." The beauty of the human strategy was its sheer audacity. Where alien military doctrine called for careful preparation and overwhelming force, humans had developed a completely different approach. They would use speed, surprise, and adaptability to turn the aliens' numerical advantage into a liability. Captain Mitchell brought up fleet deployment schedules that would have been impossible for any other species to execute. General, our rapid response fleets can be in position within 72 hours. The aliens are planning their attack for next month, assuming we need time to coordinate our defenses. They have no idea we've been ready for this scenario since the day we left Earth. Chen nodded with grim satisfaction. The aliens fear our expansion because they see it as chaotic and unpredictable. What they don't understand is that our expansion is successful precisely because it's chaotic and unpredictable. We don't follow their rules because their rules don't work for us. The general activated a secure communication link to every human colony, military installation, and civilian settlement across known space. His words would reach nearly 1 billion humans within minutes, from the core worlds around Earth to the furthest frontier settlements. Citizens of humanity, he began, his voice carrying the weight of history. We have just learned that 15 alien species have formed an alliance with the explicit purpose of exterminating our species. They fear our growth, our adaptability, and our refusal to accept the limitations they consider natural. The response was immediate and uniquely human. Instead of panic or despair, reports flooded in of colonists volunteering for military service, industrial facilities converting to weapons production, and civilian engineers proposing innovative defensive strategies. Within hours, the human response was already exceeding every projection. Dr. Park monitored the flood of communications with amazement. Sir, we're receiving over 10,000 technical innovations per hour from civilian sources. Our colonists are treating this as an engineering challenge rather than an existential threat. That's exactly why we're going to win, Chen replied. The aliens see this as a war for survival. We see it as an opportunity to prove what humanity is truly capable of. As reports continued to stream in from across human space, a pattern emerged that would have terrified the alien alliance if they had been capable of understanding it. Humans were not preparing to survive the coming attack. They were preparing to use it as a springboard for even greater expansion and growth. The aliens had declared war on humanity to stop their expansion. They were about to discover that humanity's greatest periods of growth had always come during times of greatest challenge. When predators become prey. The Kepler sector had been chosen carefully by the Purification Alliance as the site of their first major assault. The human colony of New Eden represented everything the aliens feared about human expansion, a world that had been transformed from a lifeless rock into a thriving settlement supporting 3 million humans in less than 20 years. Admiral Rebecca Torres stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the massive alien fleet emerge from hyperspace with the same calm focus that had made her legendary during the corporate wars. Around her, the bridge crew worked with the efficient precision that marked every human military unit, their movements quick and purposeful. Admiral, reported Lieutenant Alex Kumar from his position at the tactical station. Enemy fleet composition confirmed. We're looking at over 10,000 vessels from 15 different species. Combined firepower estimates suggest they could glass the entire planet from orbit. Torres nodded, studying the tactical display with the eye of someone who had spent decades turning impossible odds into decisive victories. The alien fleet was massive, organized, and followed textbook formation patterns that had been perfected over millennia of galactic warfare. Lieutenant Kumar, signal the colonial defense grid. Begin Phase 1 of Thunder Dawn immediately. What happened next would have been impossible for any other species in the galaxy to execute. The planet's surface erupted with activity as concealed defensive systems revealed themselves. What the aliens had assumed were simple industrial facilities transformed into weapon emplacements, shielded by energy barriers that had been disguised as atmospheric processors. Ambassador Thylex, now commanding the Keth Mori contingent of the Alliance fleet, watched in growing horror as her intelligence reports proved catastrophically wrong. This is impossible, she clicked frantically to her tactical officers. Our scouts confirmed that New Eden was a simple agricultural colony with minimal defensive capabilities. High Commander Zeryl's response came through the Alliance communication network with the first hints of the fear that would soon consume the entire alien fleet. Our intelligence was correct when it was gathered. These humans have transformed their entire colony into a fortress in a matter of weeks. How is such rapid militarization possible? The answer lay in something the aliens had never encountered before. A species that had designed their expansion with warfare in mind from the very beginning. Every human colony was built using modular technology that could be rapidly reconfigured for any purpose. What appeared to be peaceful settlements were actually highly adaptable military installations waiting to be activated. Admiral Torres activated the second phase of her strategy, one that would shatter every assumption the aliens held about human military doctrine. Instead of waiting for the alien attack and responding defensively, her fleet moved to engage immediately. "All ships implement Swarm Protocol Alpha," she ordered. "Remember, we're not here to survive their attack. We're here to teach them why attacking humanity was the worst mistake they could have made." The human fleet moved with a coordination that seemed impossible given their numerical disadvantage. 800 ships spread out in patterns that defied conventional military logic, each vessel following what appeared to be completely independent courses of action. Lieutenant Kumar, barely out of the academy but already demonstrating the adaptability that marked his generation, coordinated the complex maneuver with practiced ease. "Admiral, all squadrons report ready for engagement. Enemy fleet is maintaining standard formation, exactly as predicted." What the aliens couldn't understand was that the apparent chaos of the human formation was actually a highly sophisticated tactical system. Every ship captain had been trained to make independent decisions based on real-time conditions, allowing the entire fleet to adapt and respond faster than any centralized command structure could manage. The first engagement lasted exactly 17 minutes and changed the course of galactic history forever. "That's exactly what frightens me," Thylex continued, her voice taking on a desperate edge. "Every other species in the galaxy follows predictable patterns. We expand slowly. We consolidate our gains. We maintain balance with our environment. Humans do none of these things. They expand rapidly. They constantly change their methods, and they seem to thrive on instability." High Commander Zeril brought up military intelligence that made the situation even more alarming. "Our tactical analysts have studied human conflict resolution. In the past 50 years, they have been involved in 47 separate disputes with other species. In every single case, they emerge stronger than before. They don't just win conflicts, they learn from them and become more dangerous." The assembled representatives shifted uneasily as they absorbed this information. The concept of growing stronger through conflict was alien to most galactic species, who viewed warfare as a destructive force to be avoided whenever possible. Dr. Veshitar's gaseous form pulsed with agitation. "Our psychologists attempted to understand human decision-making processes. The results were disturbing. Humans make choices based on incomplete information and somehow achieve better outcomes than species who spend decades analyzing every variable. They call it intuition and gut feeling, concepts that make no logical sense." "There's something else," Ambassador Krell added, his aquatic form darkening with worry. "Human diplomatic patterns are unlike anything in our historical records. They don't negotiate for stability or mutual benefit. They negotiate to create opportunities for future expansion. Every treaty they sign opens new possibilities rather than limiting them." The chamber erupted in worried chatter as this revelation sank in. For millennia, galactic diplomacy had been based on the principle of creating stable, predictable relationships that benefited all parties equally. The idea of using diplomacy as a tool for gaining strategic advantage was fundamentally disturbing to the assembled aliens. Thylex called for order, her voice cutting through the noise. "The evidence is overwhelming. Human expansion patterns, their technological development, their social structures, their military capabilities, all of it points to one terrifying conclusion. They are not like us. They think differently, they act differently, and they grow differently." Unit Prime 7's mechanical voice carried an unusual note of uncertainty. "Predictive models fail when applied to human behavior. Standard galactic development curves suggest they should have destroyed themselves through rapid expansion and resource depletion. Instead, they continue to grow stronger. Our most advanced calculations cannot project their future capabilities." High Commander Zeril stood, his massive form dominating the chamber. The Vorthak Empire had never backed down from any challenge, but even he seemed shaken by what they were discussing. "Fellow representatives, we face a species that becomes more dangerous with every passing year. Their expansion rate is accelerating, not slowing. At current projections, they will control over 1,000 systems within the next century. And that assumes their expansion rate remains constant," Thylex added grimly. "All evidence suggests they are still learning, still adapting, still finding new ways to grow faster and more efficiently." The silence that followed was heavy with implications. Each representative was imagining their own species' future in a galaxy dominated by humans, beings who seemed to thrive on the very chaos and unpredictability that other species found terrifying. Dr. Veshitar was the first to voice what everyone was thinking. We cannot allow this expansion to continue. If humans are permitted to grow unchecked, they will eventually dominate the entire galaxy, not through conquest, but through simple mathematics. They will outgrow us all. Ambassador Krell's agreement came through his translation matrix with unusual force. My people have survived for 10,000 years by avoiding conflicts we cannot win. But this is not a conflict we can avoid. Human expansion threatens the very foundation of galactic civilization. Thylex looked around the chamber, seeing her own fears reflected in every alien face and form. Then we are in agreement. The human expansion must be stopped before it becomes unstoppable. I call for the formation of the Purification Alliance, dedicated to preserving galactic balance by eliminating the human threat. Torres nodded, but her expression remained grim. The ceasefire will be granted, Lieutenant, but the terms will be ours. The galaxy needs to understand that humanity doesn't fight to destroy our enemies. We fight to teach them why becoming our enemies was a mistake. As news of the Battle of New Eden spread across the galaxy, the truth became clear to every alien civilization. The Purification Alliance hadn't just failed to stop human expansion. They had provided humanity with the perfect opportunity to demonstrate why their expansion was unstoppable. Within a year, human colonies would triple in number, not through conquest, but through the voluntary requests of alien species who now understood that cooperation with humanity offered opportunities that opposition could never provide. The galaxy had tried to stop humanity's growth out of fear. They had learned, too late, that humanity's greatest strength had never been their technology, their numbers, or their military might. Humanity's greatest strength was that they never stopped growing, never stopped learning, and never stopped reaching for possibilities that others couldn't even imagine. The stars themselves seemed to tremble, not with fear of what humanity was, but with anticipation of what they would become.